Does anyone remember this kids show? It was called Candle Cove, and I must have been 6 or 7. I never found reference to it anywhere, so I think it was on a local station around 1971 or 1972. I lived in Ironton at the time. I don't remember which station, but I do remember it was on a weird time, like 4 p.m. It seems really familiar to me. I grew up outside of Ashland and was 9 years old in 72. Candle Cove. Was it about pirates? I remember a pirate marionette at the mouth of a cave talking to a little girl. Yes, okay, I'm not crazy. I remember Pirate Percy. I was kind of scared of him. He looked like he was built from parts of other dolls. Real low budget. His head was an old porcelain baby doll. Looked like an antique that didn't belong on the body. I don't remember what station this was. I don't think it was WTSF though. Sorry to resurrect this old thread, but I know exactly what show you mean, Sky Shell. I think Candle Cove ran for only a couple of months in 71, not 72. I was 12 and I watched it a few times with my brother. It was channel 58. Whatever station that was, my mom would let me switch to it after the news. Let me see what I can remember. It took place on Candle Cove. It was about a little girl who had magic herself to be friends with pirates. The pirate ship was called the Laughing Stock, and Pirate Percy wasn't a very good pirate. He got scared too easily. And there was music constantly playing. Don't remember the girl's name. Janice or Jade or something. I think it was Janice. Thank you, Jared. Memory flooded back when you mentioned the Laughing Stock and Channel 58. I remember the bow of the ship was a wooden smiling face with the lower jaw submerged. It looked like it was swallowing the sea, and it had awful wind voice and laugh. I especially remember how jarred it was when they switched from the wooden plastic model to the foam puppet version of the head that talked. Ha, I remember too. Do you remember this part, Sky Shell? You have to go inside. Ugh, Mike, I got chills reading that. Yes, I remember. That was the ship always told Percy when there was a spooky place he had to go in, like a cave or a dark room where the treasure was, and the camera would push into Laughing Stock's face with each pause. You have to go inside, with 2 eyes asked you, and that floppy foam jaw, and the fish line that opened and closed. It just looked like so cheap and awful. You guys remember the villain? He had a face that was just a handlebar mustache above really tall narrow teeth. I honestly thought the villain was Percy the Pirate. I was 5 when this show was on. Nightmare Fuel. That wasn't the villain. The puppet with the mustache that was the villain's sidekick, Horrible Horace. He had a monocle too, but it was on top of his mustache. I used to think that he meant he only had 1 eye. But yeah, the villain was another marionette, the Skin Taker. I can't believe what they let us watch back then. Jesus Christ, the Skin Taker? What kind of kids show we were watching? I seriously could not look at the screen when the Skin Taker showed up. He just descended out of nowhere on his strings. Just a dirty skeleton wearing that brown top hat and cape, and his glass eyes that were too big for his skulls. Christ almighty. Wasn't his top hat all cloaked and sewn up crazily? Was that supposed to be children's skin? Yeah, I think so. I remember his mouth didn't open and close. His jaw just slipped back and forth. I remember the little girl say, why does your mouth move like that? And the skin taker didn't look at the girl, but at the camera and said, to grind your skin. I'm so relieved that other people remember this terrible show. I used to have this awful memory, a bad dream. I had work. The opening jingle ended, the show faded from black, and all the characters were there, but the camera was just cutting to each of their faces. And they were just screaming, and the puppets and marionettes were falling spastically, and just all screaming. The girl was just moaning and crying like she had been through this for hours. I woke up many times from that nightmare. I used to wet the bed when I had it. I don't think it was a dream. I remember that. I remember that was an episode. No. Not possible. There was no plot or anything. I mean, literally, just standing in place, crying and screaming for the whole show. Maybe I'm manufacturing the memory because you said that. But I swear to God, I remember seeing what you described. They just screamed. Oh God, yes, the little girl Janice. I remember seeing her shake and the skin taker screaming through his gashing teeth, his jaw carrying so wildly I thought it would come off its wires hinges. I turned it off, and it was the last time I watched it. I ran to tell my brother. We didn't have the courage to turn it back on. I visited my mom today at the nursing home. I asked her about when I was a little, in the early 70s, when I was 8 or 9, and if she remembered a kids show, Candle Cove. She said I was surprised I could remember that, and I asked why. And she said, because I used to think it was so strange that you said, I'm gonna go watch Candle Cove now, Mom. And then you would just tune the TV to static and just watch that air for 30 minutes. You had a big imagination with your little pirate show.